Hello, hello, and happy Monday. Happy Monday. Monday is my favorite day of the week. What is your favorite day of the week? Okay, let me know what your favorite day of the week is. I'd like to know. And I am getting better at getting this link here. Aha. When you pop on, let me know who you are and where you're from. And if you're watching the recording, feel free to skip ahead about a minute or so to get to the content. Let me grab my notes here. Okay, so as of this recording, hey Auntie, as of this recording, it is currently April 3rd, and you have 15 days to get your taxes done from today for the 2016 tax year. Don't wait until April 18th. Please don't do that. Okay, so I want to welcome you to the Daily Revision Morning Show. My name is Lysandra Everett, and I am your host. I am here Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish. And when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about lots of things. You're going to hear about life. You're going to hear about business and leadership. At this moment, it's tax season, so I've been doing nothing but answering tax questions for about the last 3 weeks because it's tax season. People got taxes on their minds, they got tax questions, and I am here to provide answers. And I want to let you know that the answers I provide here are for presentation purposes. You really need to contact your tax professional regarding your personal tax situation because everybody's tax situation is different, okay? So today's question is about tax deductions for pastors, okay? So the first thing that you have to understand is that taxes for pastors and ministers are a little bit different than everyone else. The first thing is that pastors have a dual status where they can be considered employees for the church, but as far as Social Security and Medicare taxes go, they're considered self-employed. So there is, a different classification status. Now, the church can choose, well, at the minister's request. Let me say that. At the minister's request, the church can withhold income taxes from his pay if that's what he or she prefers. But that has to be at the minister's request. They just can't arbitrarily do that. It has to be at that request. That is one of the specific things. So, that is left up to the minister. Okay. Now, as far as what he or she can look, instead of me saying he or she, that's just too much. Can we take my masculine he to understand he or she, because this is just too much trying to be, you know what I mean. Okay, let me get down with the get down. I get tired of this, all right? Okay, so if the minister is considered an employee of the church, then he can only deduct unreimbursed expenses over 2% of the adjusted gross income, okay? But otherwise, if he's self-employed, then there are other, it's just like with a regular business, the types of deductions he can have. Okay, so let's talk about the top 6 or 7, I'm not sure, that I have that really kind of applies to almost everybody, okay? The first is travel. Now, and I'm a pastor's kid too, and boy, did we travel when I was small. We went to so many churches when I was small. Holy cow. Okay. So travel. Now, whether it's travel to another church, travel to a meeting, or anything like that, that is tax deductible. The main thing about all of this, everything that I'm going to give you is documentation. I can't stress documentation enough, regardless of if you are a business owner or anything, any type of deductions that you claim on your tax returns, you need to have clear, copious, down to the point documentation. Okay. Documentation is going to cover who, what, when, where, why, and how much. Okay. That's what proper documentation is going to cover. All right. So travel, that's self-explanatory. Document mileage, whether it's airfare, anything like that. Okay. Entertainment. Entertainment is in the form of meals. So if you meet with another pastor, if you meet with a board or something like that, and there's a meal involved, you get to deduct 50% of that. Now, clothing, you always have the fight about clothing. So here's the deal. If it's a robe that you wear at church, this is not something that can be worn as regular street clothing. If it's something that you only wear at church, then that is tax deductible. However, suits are not tax deductible. So even if you don't wear a robe to preach in at church, you might wear a suit. That suit is still not tax deductible because it can be worn as regular street clothes somewhere else. Okay. Okay. Education. Now, education, again, has to be specific. It has to be something required for you to keep your job, or it's going to improve your skills. It's not something that you decide to go off all willy-nilly and want to take up, pottery or something, and then that is tax deductible. No, it's got to be something that is related to your job, that's either required for you to keep your job, or it improves your skills. Okay. Resource books, whether it's a religious book, concordance, that is also tax deductible. I already said education. Okay. The housing allowance. Now, if you get a housing allowance, the great thing about the housing allowance is that is excluded from your federal income tax, but you must pay the self-employment tax on the housing allowance. So there are some pastors that are provided a home to live in, whether it's a parsonage type thing, and then you got to get into fair rental value and all of that. That is a whole nother live broadcast. I'll be here forever if I were to cover that. But just know that your housing allowance, depending on what you have, can be treated differently, and it's tax deductible. Okay. The main thing with pastors is understanding that there's that dual status there. You can be an employee of the church, or you can be self-employed, as far as the church is concerned. But regardless of how the church treats you, you are considered self-employed for Social Security and Medicare. Let me make sure I wrote that down correctly. Yeah, Social Security and Medicare. I had a brain cramp there for a moment. And so you do have to pay your own self-employment tax. Now, just about every pastor I know is paying quarterly estimated taxes. So if you're not doing that, then you might need to make some adjustments there. Okay. So that's it. So, to say, what all is deductible for the pastor, like I said, it totally depends on the classification of the pastor. If they're considered an employee of the church, and then, you can only reimburse those, you can only deduct those expenses that are not reimbursed by the church. Okay. But if you're considered self-employed, on both cases, then you have a little bit more flexibility there. But again, you really need to sit down with your tax professional to look at all of your documentation to really say for sure what's deductible for you versus what is not. Okay. So I really hope that helps you out. And thank you so much for the question. I forgot who it was, but I will tag you in this video. And I also post these on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe both of my live notifications on Facebook and on YouTube so you don't miss anything. Okay. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.